Greetings, adventurers! Welcome back to Goldbound, a challenge where we remain locked in Elwynn Forest until we're able to obtain enough gold to buy a WoW token. A clear condition of sorts to unlock a new neighboring zone for us to explore. Our hero Golden can utilize all professions gathering and crafting, along with looting and buying what NPCs have to offer. In essence, anything within the boundaries of our current zone is fair game. Stormwind serves as our primary hub for auctioning. It also lies within our current zone, making it fully available for us to use at our discretion. When we last left off, our journey had just begun, as we eagerly stalked the auction house with all that we could find, laying the foundation for our pursuit of gold. We consulted Stormwind's esteemed vendors to arrange the resale of selected transmog. Golden picked the forest clean of every plant and ore. He turned every ore into bar and every bar into bolt, every herb into ink, and every ink into glyph of stars. We vanquished every rare foe we encountered, driven by the hopes of claiming an elusive item, one that may shift the course of our journey. Before we delve too deeply into this journey ahead, it's also important to note that this adventure isn't solely about gold and earning a token. It's also a quest to discover how much we can give back to the community along the way. Once our goal has been achieved, we'll be giving away a token to a subscriber who's engaged with the series by leaving a comment. We have 58,000 gold from last week, which is a great start, but there's a lot of work left to do. So this week is a week about optimizing and refining to improve our farming methods for Elwynn. But to do this, we have a big problem that needs to be fixed. Our bag situation is far from what you would call ideal. Having to pull out over 400 auction house sellables from the mailbox to repost is starting to take a tremendous amount of time, and farming with such limited space is causing a lot of unnecessary travel time. But don't worry, I have a plan, one that may very well be a keystone moment in forever improving our Elwynn farming inventory situation. We would visit our old acquaintance Hogger, who was sent away in shackles for his crimes in Elwynn. Down to the depths of the stockades we went. Golden ran the stockades multiple times. We weren't searching for treasure, or a shiny new upgrade like you normally would in a dungeon. I really found nothing notable at all, but what I did find was silk cloth. Knowing now that we could find silk cloth in the stockades, we could skill up tailoring to craft small silk packs, a 10-slot bag. This should be a breeze, or so I thought. We encountered two problems. The amount of silk dropping in the stockades was relatively low, but with enough time, we could overcome this issue. Now the part which may have been an oversight to the entire plan, the heavy leather. You see, my assumption was with the mobs scaling in the zone to higher levels, the quality of the leather would also scale. But we killed the wolves, light leather. We killed the boars, light leather. And we killed the bears, again, nothing but light leather. Our dream of having a larger inventory at this point seemed all but dead, or at least we're just gonna have to put it on hold until we make our way into future zones. Now defeated, I decided we're gonna make the best of this. There might be a way to make some gold with skinning and the leathers. Testing out different areas to find out what yielded the highest light leather was our new course of action. Whoa, hold up. After a few hours of skinning, we just got a medium leather. This is gonna require some further testing. Princess, related to a quest, was a forced spawn monster, meaning this royal boar is forcibly spawned after a short duration, roughly 30 seconds so people are able to do their quests. And we killed this boar every 30 seconds for about 45 minutes. And to my astonishment, it was only after we had abandoned our dream that we discovered a way to obtain all the leathers that we needed to craft a small silk pack. With the leathers collected, we just needed more silk to finish skilling up tailoring and enough to craft the bags. So back to the damp cells of the stockades we went. And then, a moment that defied all logic. Utter nonsense, unleashed in full force, is what happened during the next few stockade runs while we searched for our silk. During the first few runs, a journeyman's backpack, a 14-slot bag dropped. Unreal. The following run, a large knapsack, a 12-slot bag. And then just a few runs later, we had a traveler's backpack. We now have our first 16-slot bag. The amount of time I've spent getting to this point has been invalidated instantly, and our inventory situation has been solved. Though I do have every reason to be upset at the wasted time, there's an unexpected satisfaction in the journey that brought me here. A strange, quiet fulfillment woven into the chaos. Now that the bag situation is behind us, I'd like to share why I chose Rogue for this challenge. The primary reason I chose this class was to gain the ability to unlock these sealed boxes, offering a small thrill of a chance at extra loot. Going through the entire challenge without being able to open them would feel like a missed opportunity. I've collected 15 ornate bronze locks boxes from the stockades, and now, at last, it's time to see what's inside. We received a handful of green items from the lockboxes, but I'll only be keeping 2. A shimmering robes, which I'll have no issue selling for 50 to 100 gold relatively quickly, and a pattern for barbaric gloves. I have 2 options for the pattern. I could try and sell the pattern within the range of 100 to 300 gold, or if I'm able to obtain large fangs from the animals of Elwynn, I could craft them and sell a finished product for over 2,000 with a lower sale rate. I'll be putting the pattern in the bank and revisiting these options soon. With the remaining green items, I picked up enchanting and used disenchant to get 150 gold in fast selling material. Now let's get back to the forest. I spent several hours farming copper to optimize what route was best, as crafting bolts is still one of our most reliable sources of steady income. I did 3 different routes: the full zone route, a right side of the zone route, and a left side of the zone route. After an hour of the full zone route here on the screen, we were able to farm 728 copper. Next, I did the right side of the zone, where I got substantially less copper ore at 564 for the hour. And finally, after an hour of the left side of the zone route, we were able to farm 762 copper ore. Going forwards, I'll be sticking to the left side of the zone when mining, as it was a clear winner. 762 copper converts into roughly 5,500 gold an hour, depending on the price of copper bolts at the time of sale. If I focused on copper alone and nothing else for the rest of the challenge, I'd only need 36.5 more hours of pure mining, plus the crafting time. Now that I mentioned crafting time, let's talk about the bad news. The 3 hours of mining was over 2,000 ore, plus what I had in the bank. I was looking at just a little over 4,000 copper at one point. Now crafting a bar takes 1.5 seconds, and crafting a bolt is another 1.5 seconds. I had over 2 hours of crafting. This kind of downtime from crafting was something I learned I needed to do while I was busy outside of the game. It was best just to craft and walk away from the computer to best optimize my farming time. Next, I decided to focus on skinning a bit with 2 different farm areas. First, I did an hour of wolves and bears, farming the center area of the map, which had multiple wolf dens. These areas had dense groups of mobs, which made for easy skinning. My results from this area was 123 gold in vendor trash, 353 light leather after combining all the scraps. I got 370 wolf meat, which turned into 37 gold, and 2.5 gold of bear meat. This turned into roughly 753 gold for an hour. Now the second area was the boars of the McClure Vineyard. These boars would hyperspawn. If you're unfamiliar with the term hyperspawn it refers to the spawning mechanics of a mob. If a mob is related to a quest, the spawn rate of the mob will be increased to always ensure that there are mobs to complete the quest. So essentially, the faster you kill the boars, the faster the mobs will spawn. With an hour of killing boars, I was able to farm 437 light leather after combining all the scraps, which was 730 gold. 343 boar meat, which is about 182 to 339 gold depending on the server pricing. This farm turned out to be 1,073 gold for the hour. As we can see, both the skinning farms are substantially lower than mining, but we'll be able to use the leathers for something else in the future, so I'll bank them for now. After observing the strong performance of many of my vendor items which I sold for transmog in the previous episode, I was inspired to expand my stockpile to explore new avenues. To begin this venture, I decided to branch out into professions, starting with blacksmithing. I skilled up blacksmithing and kept a handful of the items, remembering that anything I crafted needed to exceed the value of what the copper bolts would sell for. The items, crafting costs, and what the items are worth at the time of recording will be posted on the screen. Feel free to pause to review if you need. Next, I picked up jewel crafting. There's not many opportunities with low-level jewel crafting, but one thing I did notice when I was looking through the list was the price of delicate copper wire. I would take 2 copper bars to craft a single wire, and that wire could potentially sell for 47.5 gold each. I ended up crafting 100 delicate copper wires, hoping to get 4,747 gold out of it. And lastly, I wanted to talk about tailoring. I mentioned earlier that I'd skilled up tailoring to craft bags. While skilling up, there was many items that I decided to keep, as the final product heavily outweighed the uncrafted cloth. These items, the material cost, and the value that they are worth at the time of recording will be on the screen. As I delve deeper into crafting, I'm realizing that I'll likely want to incorporate some form of it into every zone that I explore. In my previous video, I outlined a rule set allowing for professions to be freely dropped and swapped at any time, with the option of revisiting earlier zones with the purpose of leveling the professions back up. However, I'm starting to see that this approach might lead to frequent profession changes within a single zone just to craft a variety of items. Something that could disrupt the pacing and keep me away from the current zone and current content longer than I'd prefer. While I could simplify things by sticking solely to gathering professions or limiting myself to a single production skill, I suspect that might become monotonous over time. Given this, I'm rethinking my stance on profession rules. My current idea is to develop a small roster of alternate characters dedicated to crafting. These characters would be restricted to the zones that my main character, Goldenbane, has already unlocked. They would be permitted to exchange mail with Golden, receiving raw materials that he gathers stores and returning finished goods for him to sell. This would allow me to maintain immersion and momentum in each zone, while still embracing the depth and creativity that crafting offers. But I want to know what you guys think about this idea. If you could leave a comment below, it would be greatly appreciated in guiding me to my decision. As I spent more and more time in the Elwynn Forest, my presence began to draw attention of other players. Some grew curious and asked me what I was up to. One even offered me gold, which I had to politely decline. Now, we've reached that familiar moment in the video. It's time to check the mailbox. There's been about a 2-week gap between this episode and the last, which means the mailbox haul might be a bit larger than usual. Going forwards, I'll aim to release these videos more regularly, so the mail won't pile up quite as much. Now, let's take a look to see what we've earned. So we have about 438 mails that sold here. A bunch of our crafting items, it looks like. We're gonna scroll down. We have some frayed knots, some more tailoring items. First page has 35,000 gold, so there must be a bigger item here on the list. Our bastard broadsword sold for almost 1,000 there. Well, would you look at that? Our thuggish shield sold for 25,000 gold. That's a huge dent in our gold, and that's one of the items I didn't think I was going to be able to sell. So we're just going to collect all that. Now our next page of the mail only had 3,700 gold on it. It looked like a lot of smaller items, like our shirts. They're not really valued a whole lot, but we definitely made some money versus selling just over the material. A couple of our blacksmithing items that sold on this page as well. Now on the next page of the mail here, it just started auto-accepting. I wasn't able to stop it in time, but if you look at the chat real quickly here, you'll notice that there was a Brood Mother's Carapace that sold. We ended up getting 19,600 gold for that Brood Mother's Carapace. So I ended up stopping the mail from just automatically pulling out, so we could just review it a little bit better before it just all auto pulls out on us. And we can see several handfuls of copper bolts, some more tailoring items, more copper bolts. Oh, we had a pale skinner that had sold for 2,700. Well, a lot of our transmog was selling on this page here. But we still have 42 more mail to check on after that. And would you look at that there? Another Brood Mother's Carapace sold, 26,000 gold. And some Glyphs of Stars too, it looks like. It's another 38,000 and change on this page here. This was an excellent mailbox haul. We have now gone from just over 58,000 gold to just over 194,000 gold. That's an impressive gain of 136,000. We're steadily closing in on our gold goal, or at least we were. It seems the goalposts have moved once again, now sitting at 278,000 gold. That puts us about 84,000 gold away from wrapping up Elwynn Forest and giving away a WoW token's worth of gold to one lucky viewer who's liked, commented, and subscribed on any one of the Goldbound videos here on my channel. That wraps up episode 2. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey. Until next time, adventurers, take care, keep grinding, and I'll see you in the next video.